Time now for a look at the day's top business news. And for that, Brian Quinn joins me here in the studio. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Charlie.
So we're going to start by this massive infrastructure project that U.S. President Joe Biden is putting forward. It's his next big initiative, and the plan for paying for it is to come from corporate taxes. That's obviously not making everyone in the business community too happy over there.
Indeed, there are some mixed feelings, you could say. Of course, key element of that $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan, that tax hike on corporations from the current 21% up to 28%. Well, some prominent business groups, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, have already come out against that idea. Plenty of large companies, though, are on the fence. An infrastructure overhaul has been on the wish list of some American businesses for a long time now. Many industries would stand to benefit from the plan, among them construction and the electric vehicle sector. America's corporate tax rate stood at a nominal 35% before Donald Trump's massive 2017 tax cuts. And with both profits and stock prices soaring while many Americans struggle during the pandemic, some feel it might not be the moment to push back on paying a bit extra. The White House is hoping that's the case. Take a listen.
Corporations who have had their tax rate lowered to 21%, lower by a great margin than it's been ever in history, corporations that didn't pay any taxes in 2018, we think they can afford to help rebuild our workforce, help invest in industries of the future, and make sure our infrastructure makes us competitive with China.
Next, it's time for a check on the markets. What are we seeing so far?
European exchanges are closed for Good Friday, but Asian stock indexes made some gains on the heels of a big Thursday session on Wall Street, a new record for the S&P 500 there. The Nikkei in Tokyo ending the day up 1.6% as shares in investment giant SoftBank soared over 4% there. Mainland Chinese indexes on the rise as well amid strong growth in factory activity. The Shanghai Composite, though, up just 0.3% as China's central bank is warning of growing risk of debt defaults amid potential financial bubbles. The Hong Kong exchange closed for Easter holiday. Kospi and Seoul up around 0.8% to round out the day there.
Next, we're going to come back here to France. The latest national lockdown is starting on Monday for the whole country.
Indeed.
Threatening to take a major toll on retail businesses that have already had a really rough year.
Another big blow for these small businesses. It's true. As those new restrictions come into force across the country, some 60,000 additional shops deemed non-essential, those such as clothing and jewelry stores, will have to close their doors. After a year of the pandemic, many shopkeepers say they've had enough. Some are even breaking the rules. Camille Nedelec and our colleagues at France Télévisions have the story.
These busy crowds are determined to squeeze in one last trip to the shops before fresh restrictions come into force. This jewelry shop in Toulouse will close for a month on Saturday, the third time this year.
Oui, évidemment, elle a l'aimé. Ça commence à être très compliqué moralement. Pour tout le monde, je suppose. Mais là, de se reprendre encore le fait que nous sommes un commerce non essentiel, c'est violent. Certes nécessaire, mais c'est violent.
Closed businesses have recourse to the government Solidarity Fund, which includes either a grant of €10,000 or 20% of their annual revenue. These extra closures will cost the public purse a further €4 billion per month, bringing the total cost of coronavirus support measures in France to some €11 billion a month. As well as state support, some businesses have turned to click and collect. In Paris, this leather goods business is pivoting to online sales.
J'ai constaté que beaucoup de gens dans tous les départements regardaient justement mon site internet et j'ai bon espoir que ça se transforme en achat.
But sales are still slow for now. Meanwhile, some shops have decided they just can't afford to close. On this street, some boutiques let clients try on clothes outside or make orders from the threshold. They're taking a big risk, as if found out, they'll be forced to shut without recourse to government funds.
Finally, on this business update, Brian, every year on April Fool's Day, we see brands, some with some major hits that people love, and other times huge misses that get a lot of criticism. You've brought us a little mini roundup.
Well, April Fool's jokes, of course, as you say, along a staple of corporate branding. The pandemic, though, saw the laughs mostly put on hold during 2020. They were back in 2021. We had Velveeta Cheese's skincare line and Legos that automatically get out of the way of stockinged feet to avoid being stepped on. One joke that backfired pretty big, though, carmaker Volkswagen's announcement of a permanent name change to Volkswagen in the U.S. as it moves to electric vehicles. One problem, they announced it actually days ahead of April 1st and then insisted to media outlets that it was not a prank. Many critics also noted that the company's history of using falsehoods to sell vehicles, notably in the Dieselgate emissions scandal, might make it wise to avoid such attempts at humor.
Perhaps telling April Fool's jokes is not the right strategy for a company that has not told the truth in the past. You don't tell an April Fool's joke on days other than April Fools. You don't ask people to participate in the joke that are not part of the joke, the press and the media. You don't take advantage of them. And you keep it short and sweet. And they did all those things wrong. So they took an okay idea and they botched it.
I think the moral of the story, if you're not positive that it's going to work, just don't even try it.
Really good idea.
Brian Quinn with our business update for this morning. Thank you so much.